Hello, everybody. Brenna here.
And I'm Gabby.
And this is the Mystery of Everything podcast.
Woo!
Woohoo! And today we're going to be covering fungi. There's a fungus among us.
There's a fun guy.
There's a fun guy. There's a moonbeam.
Hi, Moonbeam. What do you have to say?
I wonder if she'll come into shot.
You can't see her, but she had a lot to say.
She'll have her own segment on Patreon. All right, so could cordyceps actually kill us all in a zombie apocalypse? That is what the episode is about. We have all seen The Last of Us, or most of us have at least.
I played the video game.
That counts. Yeah, that counts. The Last of Us unlocked a new fear inside me, and I'm sure a lot of you all do. Are you afraid of cordyceps?
No.
Oh, well. I'm just kidding.
Should I be?
Well, all right. Then, cool for you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm afraid of runny noses, which I have. Living my worst fear right now.
Dun, dun. Anyways, so.
Zombie ants.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
It's like when your aunt is really tired, she's a zombie aunt.
Zombie aunties.
Yeah.
No, I feel the majority of you all that know about cordyceps, you know about zombie ants. That's not new information. The point of this episode, I was kind of going to see, like, is researching this going to make my fear of cordyceps better, or is it going to make them worse?
And the jury decided.
I think it's better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I do think it's better. So this episode is inspired by a TikTok video of a woman with the username, I don't know how to say her username, AUDHDAROACEATOR Auderasorator. Any guesses?
I know the beginning is AUDHD. Aero Ace Aider.
Eater?
Aider. So it's like AUDHD Aero Ace Aider.
Not sure. If you type it in, you'll find the video. It's very viral. But she goes into detail about how her friend's neighbor has genetically modified cordyceps on his desk in his room in an unlabeled jar that is sitting next to another unlabeled jar containing mushrooms, which in itself is sketchy.
Why? That's real?
Yeah. She then goes on to describe how the neighbor does not have a biology degree, which makes it worse, but he does have access to CRISPR technology.
How?
He's got access to CRISPR technology because his cousin is a biochemistry major. Their goal is to develop a pesticide using cordyceps where they modify the plants where they can't get infected or damaged by the cordyceps, but then modify the cordyceps to be more broad spectrum so that it can infect all the bugs. So the cordyceps will use the bugs to spread the spores so that the bugs aren't eating the plants anymore. If you know anything about cordyceps, well, the ones that we're specifically talking about in this episode, you'll know that they infect ants and make them zombie ants. As somebody spoiled.
Sorry.
I'm just
I
kidding.
got excited.
She got ahead of herself. It's okay.
I just want to know how he's CRISPRing. He doesn't have a... So what's his cousin doing it for him?
His cousin has access to it, so I'm assuming by default, then his cousin would have to be doing it
because he's a biochemistry major.
All of this is alleged. Just throwing it out there.
Because you couldn't just do stuff in the lab.
No, and a lot of people don't have access to CRISPR technology. I didn't have access to CRISPR technology.
Like, every single thing you do has to be documented. They'll be like, hey, you can't just be genetically modifying cordyceps.
And you can't. It's not like you could just sneak in there too. I don't know. Like, all the doors, when I was in college, the doors all had codes on them and shit, so people couldn't go in places unless you had access to it.
I had the key for all the labs, but like, you still had to like record everything, and I'm sure there were you couldn't just do what you wanted.
There are cameras. I used to go in there just to look at like dead fish specimens and shit. I never did anything crazy. I just studied dead salamanders and whatnot.
Like we all did.
Just whip out a jar of dead frogs and get to poking at them.
I had a salamander named Salamandy. It was not Santula, it was like the red. Oh, I forgot the name of it, but it's the red one with the black spots, not the red one with the gold spots.
I can't think of the name of
I
it
can't
right
remember
now.
it. We'll circle back.
Yeah, Google it because I am curious. Anyways, so she later posted another video saying that the CDC and FBI had been notified and that his cordyceps were confiscated. She also stated that all of this information is made up for legal purposes, as I am stating here. So that was a lot to unpack. In this episode, we're going to discuss what cordyceps are, how they work. Are they a threat to humans? Could they ever be a threat to humans? Should you be worried about people trying to genetically modify them in the first place? So whether the story is true or not is not my issue. I want to know if it could ever happen, and if it did happen, how could it affect us?
The northern red salamander, Salamandy.
That's that guy.
I'll put a picture.
I didn't like any of the ones. The genus that starts with P, that there's a shit ton of them.
Plethodon?
Is it the one where they're all chunky and dark and they all look the exact same, essentially?
Yeah. It's like the northern dusky.
Yep. I hated that.
I had to do a lot of research on
Couldn't
northern
stand
dusky
them.
salamanders. They were like the best one to work with.
I liked the ones that had the square toes, though, instead of the round toes.
Which one?
I don't remember what his name is.
The thing is, the northern dusky, because we used to cytochrome B gene, they had like, it was different enough where it was just, you knew what you were working with. Because the northern dusky and the southern two-line, easiest salamanders
I like the two-line because that one's easy to identify. Anyways, we're not talking about that. We're talking about cordyceps. So, cordyceps are a genus of parasitic fungi. They are known as zombie fungi or caterpillar fungus. They are rare and naturally occurring and are usually found at higher altitudes. Cordyceps fungi have existed for around 45 million to 150 million years. Before humans ever existed, there were cordyceps. Hi, Moonbeam. What is extra creepy about cordyceps is that they can infect insects. They evolved to become specialized insect parasites. It makes you wonder what if humans would have existed during this time period. Like when they
infect
evolved.
us.
Yeah,
That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
We'd actually be zombies.
Funny.
Well, we'd be different because we'd be zombies.
We'd be different. Like, what if they just picked ants because they were there, you know?
That's what I'd do.
Yeah. I feel like they were like, oh, these will probably be easy for us to infect. Let's go with them. Okay, so instead of evolving to infect parasites, would they have evolved to infect us? And could they still eventually evolve to infect us? Interestingly enough, through the use of genetic sequencing, scientists discovered that fungi actually share more characteristics with animals than they do with plants. This is old news, though. It was discovered in the mid-20th century, but not a lot of people know that, so I thought I would add it in here. Fungi are literally in their own world, the in-between, not plants, but also not animals. But this episode is about cordyceps specifically, so we are going to start with how they infect insects. Cordyceps infect insects to manipulate the host's behavior. They make zombies out of insects. They are very strategic in the behavior of the ant. They will make the ant leave its colony before the other ants have even noticed that it's infected. Before it has even started to show any symptoms, the ant will go and position itself at the highest location it can, where the microclimate is perfect for the species to spread and reproduce. Then Gabby!
What?
Getting weird with it.
She won't leave me alone.
Then it kills its host ant and uses the ant's body for nutrients to produce a mushroom that will shoot spores all around it onto the forest floor or wherever it's located. All the other ants are going to have to walk around through this, unknowingly getting infected themselves, and then the cycle continues. Dr. João Araujo, a mycologist at the New York Botanical Gardens in the Bronx, gave an interview to NBC's New York in 2023, where he discusses how cordyceps would never develop inside a nest. He said that his colleagues conducted an experiment that showed that when an early stage of the fungus was placed inside an ant nest, it was either torn apart by the colony or it was unable to grow under the conditions. This is the entire reason that the fungi had to evolve to infect insects in the first place. What if something happened to all the insects in the world and it had no way of spreading? So let's say all the insects died out slowly, though, like not abruptly.
Would it evolve for other things, organisms?
That's what I'm wondering.
I think it might.
I don't have the answer to that, but that is, while I was writing this, that was one of my thought processes is, what if their hosts just started dying out over time? Would they evolve to find another host?
It would have to select for whatever is the most resistant. So is it all insects?
No, it's just a specific species of ant, carpenter ants.
Well, then I feel like if it's not spreading to other ants, then it'd probably die with it, unless it was specifically like one set of those carpenter ants were, I don't know,
maybe
more resistant to whatever's killing them off.
It was very closely related.
I feel like it would die off with the ants unless there was one that was resistant to whatever was killing off the ants, and then it would go to that. It would like evolve to stick with that one.
The cordyceps survival depends entirely on its ability to move the ant away from the colony and remain undetected. According to Dr. Araujo, when the ants recognize one of their members that is infected by anything, a fungi, a nematode, doesn't matter. It will kill them and tear them apart or throw it out of the nest. Valid. They just know.
Hardcore.
They just know. They're good like that. When looking at ants that have been infected with cordyceps in a lab, it takes them on average around 2 weeks to show manipulative behavior by the cordyceps. But that is different from real life scenarios. So there are many factors that come into play, like species of ants and species of cordyceps. Some might take weeks to show changed behavior, and for others it might take a year. There are over 750 different species in the cordyceps genus, which is a classified group of parasitic fungi acting as endoparasitoids. It's hard to say. Endoparasitoids, primarily on insects and arthropods. A lot of them have been broken down into several different genres, though, like Ophiocordyceps, Elaphocordyceps, and Metacordyceps. Out of all of these species, approximately 35 described species are specifically known to manipulate the behavior of their hosts. This does not mean that the number is only 35, though. There's a lot we still don't understand about cordyceps, and there may be up to 600 species of zombie ant fungi.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're just...
Apparently, it's not a very studied area in the world.
We can do that. It'd be fun.
We still got time. There's still time. Dr. Araujo explained in the NYGB's Plant Talk blog, the genus Cordyceps would have included Ophiocordyceps and thus O. unilaterus, but more recent analysis has differentiated Cordyceps and the Ophiocordyceps into separate families, Cordycipitaceae and Ophiocordycipitaceae. Why do they do that? It is Ophiocordycipitaceae that contains the Ophiocordyceps genus and the Ophiocordyceps unilaterus. This is notable because both cordyceps and Ophiocordyceps species are parasitic, but only O. unilaterus can infect and control its hosts.
So, where would I obtain some?
So when you think of zombie cordyceps, most people think of them in Asia, but Dr. Araujo has described 3 species for the United States. One has been found in Florida, one in South Carolina, and one in Missouri. I don't love that.
That's kind of close.
Yeah, and they're also potentially describing a new species in Pennsylvania.
That sounds like Pennsylvania thing.
It's not here yet. I'm just kidding. It probably is. Like I said, there's so much that we don't understand about them that, I mean, they could be everywhere and we just don't know. So the question at hand, do we need to be worrying about a zombie apocalypse?
She said 0 things.
She's just like, bless her sweetheart. So the question at hand, do we need to be worrying about a zombie apocalypse? The short answer is not right now. Dr. Orejo says that it is very unlikely because these fungi, they co-evolved to infect ants. It's one species of fungus to infect one species of ants, so they are very specific. One species of fungus cannot infect even one of the closest relatives of its host, just that species of ant.
Oh, so if the ant died off, they'd die off.
They die off.
Okay.
Unless maybe if it happened very, 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 very slowly over millions of years.
Yeah, because if they've already been around for millions of years.
45 million years old. We got time. Probably not in our lifetime, but for cordyceps to go from just one particular type of ant, the carpenter ant, all the way to a human would be a huge leap. A huge leap, yes, but also not impossible. There would be many obstacles and genetic changes that would need to take place. They would have to figure out how to overcome the human immune system to make us suitable hosts, fill our bodies up with fungal cells to influence our brains. And they have spent the last 50 million years with ants being their only host, as far as we know. So, statistically speaking, it doesn't look like they're interested in jumping to another host at the time being. And I imagine it'll stay that way as long as ants are readily available.
No boy, are they.
They're everywhere.
Except for here, because bug spray.
That's smart. So, I don't like to kill ants because I don't like to kill anything, which is super lame, I know. But it's summertime, so now ants are starting to pop up in and around my house. And I don't like to kill them. And used to, I would sweep them up in the dustpan in my old house and put them back outside, which is worse than killing ants. Because if ants get away from their colony and can't find their way back to their colony, then they will wander around aimlessly until they literally die in search of their colony again. And they can't join a new colony because they'll be attacked and killed. So think about that next time you think you're doing good things, separating ants with a dustpan and putting them outside. You're not. They will literally starve themselves walking, trying to find their way back home.
And that's why I kill them, because I don't want to do that to them.
Yeah, that's the only reason that Gabby kills them.
Well, actually, I don't. The pest company does.
I should probably get on that, and I don't know. I need to put termite thingies outside my house, probably, because my house is over 100 years old.
Termites are a real problem in Kentucky.
Yeah, when we bought the house, there's already termite things outside.
What are termite things?
They're like little circle discs that a pest man puts around your house that I guess kills termites. But I think that you have to get them refilled maybe every so often. I'm not 100% sure.
I'd assume so.
It's my first time having a home that I had to manage.
You should look into that.
I really should. It's been 2 years. I really should look into it. See, and my thing is, if they were successful, I don't think humans would behave like the zombies in The Last of Us do. Like, for one, because it wouldn't be spread through biting. That's just wouldn't happen. It's spread through spores. So it's not like I could bite you and give you an infection if I was infected by a cordyceps. That's not how it works. It works by killing its host. So, and then growing mushrooms out of me and then shooting the spores everywhere else.
That's more horrifying, I think, than biting. I think that's worse because then you breathe in the spores instead of just dodging a bite.
No, because I feel like if we were infected, then we would just like climb to the top of a mountain and then hang out. That way the mushrooms had time to grow and reproduce, and then we would just like die on top of a mountain and shoot out spores so other humans could just walk up beside us and put their bare feet on spores and then let it continue, you know?
Yes. But hopefully no.
So in theory, it could happen in nature, but it would be a very, very long time from now, and we would all be dead if it ever did happen. Dr. Araujo said to change a human would be a gigantic change, and I don't think we'll be alive to see that. And I don't think it will happen naturally in the next millions of years. Who knows? Money can do everything nowadays. And he is right. So
maybe if we don't leave it alone, like if it has to naturally mutate to humans, fine. But if people mess around with it,
that's what I'm saying. as far as like in nature goes, if it's made it 45 million years without spreading to a different host, then I feel like we'll probably be fine. But now we have technology like CRISPR technology, which I will get into, that changes the factors a little bit. That makes it a little bit more of a gamble.
Gene editing is great for some things, but in the wrong hands could be bad for other things.
Like an evil scientist or the government.
Well, I feel like the government has had access to CRISPR, plus they have access to money. So
it makes you wonder, though, because at one point in time, like everyone's like, in our previous episode, we talked about ticks, and everyone's like, oh, well, that's far-fetched that they're releasing ticks. But we have used ticks before as biological weapons.
Where? I mean, I wouldn't put it past us. People have used everything as a biological weapon at this point in time. I'll have to
research it.
I'd believe it.
Give it a quick Goog and see.
Okay.
All right, so let's continue. Let's say that it did somehow happen. How long would it take for it to spread across the world? As we said previously, it would not spread by biting. The only way the fungus can get to the point where it is able to spread is by killing the host. So there wouldn't be infected individuals who are just strolling around for years, or else the virus wouldn't be able to spread successfully through its spores. Other factors to consider with our fungi friends is that temperatures are rising. So if we factor in climate change, there is a possibility that fungi will adapt to changing environments and put humans at a higher risk of infection.
I have found it, but my nose is running, so you have to read it.
Okay.
But yes, apparently there was...
We did do it.
Well, we might have done it. They were looking into if we did.
Okay, so Gab researched if we have ever used ticks as biological warfare. Would that be the word? Warfare?
Bioweapon, yeah.
Bioweapons. That's what I was looking for. Let's see. Evidence suggests that the rise of Lyme disease is more likely due to ecological factors such as that's not that's not what I was looking at. That ties into people saying that we're dropping ticks. During World War II, Japan's Unit 731 used plague-infested insects to spread disease in China.
Yeah, remember the 731 episode was horrifying.
Oh, yeah, yep.
They did some stuff.
The U.S. has a documented history of testing biological agents, though not necessarily tick-borne ones, during the Cold War. The Biological Weapons Convention now prohibits the development, production, and use of such weapons. As of early 2026, the investigation into the origins of these pathogens and potential government involvement in weaponizing them is still being pursued through legislative efforts. So,
we'll never know.
That's a big maybe.
That's crazy that they would even consider it, though, because apparently the Department of Defense might have experimented with ticks and other insects 1950 to 1975. Who would do that? Who would even think of that?
I mean, I don't want to say that's smart because it's terrible, but
if you had to.
This could have already happened with Candida auris, which is a fungus that came about in 2009 and caused some pretty bad infections in immunocompromised individuals. But if cordyceps haven't naturally evolved throughout 50 million years of our climate changing on Earth, I don't see it happening for at least another 50 million. However, the reason cordyceps cannot infect humans is because our bodies are too hot for them to survive in us as the hosts. Human body temperatures are around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Celsius. And this creates a thermal barrier where the fungi can't thrive. But what if through climate change they are able to adapt to warmer temperatures, like the temperature of the human body?
No. It's absolutely
something
not.
To think about. It's very, very unlikely, but something to think about. One of the specific fungi that infect carpenter ants to manipulate their behavior is Ophiocordyceps unilaterus, which we already discussed a little bit. An article I read from the Library of Congress website called "What's Up with Zombie Ants?"
What is up with zombie ants?
What's up with zombie ants? Said when a hapless ant makes contact with an O. unilaterus spore, the spore attaches itself to the ant and begins to drill into the ant's exoskeleton with a combination of enzymes and pressure.
Ew.
Yeah, it is gross. That is gross. When past the ant's exterior armor, Fungal cells feed on the ant's insides and begin to spread throughout the unfortunate victim's body. Once the infection progresses past a critical stage, the ant's behavior changes. Instead of following the colony's pheromone trails and foraging, as an ant would normally do, the infected ants walk erratically. It wanders aimlessly for a long time. That's sad. Before the fungus compels the ant to climb up a nearby twig or stem and lock onto it with its jaws. Death follows shortly after, and in a few days, a stalk shoots out of the ant's head, releasing
Ew.
spores to start the whole process over again.
I don't like that. Like, I feel bad for the ants, but like,
Yeah.
definitely, I think it needs to stick.
Could you imagine a bunch
to-
of humans climbing up to the top of trees and just shooting spores over heads?
Horrifying. But I think
It's turning all the frogs gay.
everybody needs to just agree to leave those alone and not play with them, because we don't need
No, we don't need to
human ones.
ground and find out. We
Like,
don't
it
need
eats
to.
its insides. That's actually like the stuff of nightmare horror.
Like killer clowns of outer space. Well, that turns your insides into cotton candy.
No clue what you're talking about, but I love that for you.
Well, he wraps you up and then he sucks you out with a straw.
Is it like a horror movie?
Kinda. Chris made me watch it.
That sounds like something Chris would
10
watch.
out of 10 would recommend.
Not gonna watch it.
I don't blame you. Something else that's interesting I got from this article is that we don't know the exact biological mechanism that leads to the change in the ant's behavior. Scientists do think that the fungus is acting on the ant's muscles directly and not through the brain. And I think that's weird.
Yeah.
It's like puppeting its muscles.
I wonder if so if we were to do it to a human, would we be conscious, but we're just...
I don't know, but I'm like so curious.
That's horrifying.
That is wild.
Would be.
The
What do you
fungus
think?
grew around the brain, but seemed to be careful not to obliterate the ant's central control system. They also found that the fungus releases a variety of chemical compounds, but we still aren't sure how these chemical compounds are able to manipulate behavior.
Weird.
That is spooky.
So that's why they drag them out and rip them apart. Because you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Would people have the guts to do that if that happened to humans?
I'm killing all y'all. Only if need to. If I smell that you're off chemically. I don't know how they're able to tell, but if I smell that your chemicals are off, you are done. I won't even think twice about it. Another thing I didn't consider is if the parasite itself has another predator, to which it does. There is another parasitic fungus that infects this parasitic fungus, and that is called hyperparasites.
What do they do?
So there are several species of hyperparasites, like the old Turbielomyces zombie.
What she said.
Turbielomyces. I feel like that's it. Turbielomyces zombie. I like that the last part of it, zombie. I feel like they did that on purpose.
100%.
So anyways, hyperparasites, like the one we just said that I'm not going to try to say again, and the Niveomyces coronatus. These two parasites have been found on O. unilaterus. And what do these parasites do? They keep the fungus from becoming too lethal. So it's almost helpful to the parasite.
So if it becomes too lethal, it'll kill off all the ants, which means it wouldn't be able to keep going.
Yeah,
So
all of its hosts wouldn't have time to be able to reproduce. So then they would die. So then it would die.
yeah.
So it's kind of keeping it in check, and it's almost like a friend.
This is such like a complex relationship, and it's just ants and fun.
It really,
fungi.
and I don't know. I think it's so cool. Like just how nature works in general. Like a parasitic fungus, I guess, kind of attacking a parasitic fungus, but it's also helping it in the same way. I don't know.
That's cool.
Science is cool. So lastly, I want to discuss if we should be scared of cordyceps. That's like the main reason I wanted to do this episode. We've already discussed how naturally occurring cordyceps are not a threat at this moment in time, or anytime soon for that matter. but we haven't discussed genetically modified cordyceps. So, in the TikTok mentioned at the beginning of this episode, she states that her friend's roommate was trying to create a pesticide with cordyceps. While researching for this episode, I discovered through the Colorado State University website that fungus is already being used in lieu of harmful pesticides to target insects that could harm crops. So, that is already a thing.
I mean, that makes sense because the pesticides can cause a whole bunch of other problems, but these will just target the specific
Yeah,
insects without affecting humans. I kind of like that.
yeah. I'm here for it. Although, like I said, the idea of genetically modifying cordyceps creeps me out if it's done improperly. But like, if you know what you're doing, then I could get behind it. So this article is called "The Real Version of the Apocalyptic Fungus in The Last of Us Won't Turn You into a Zombie," but it does have great benefits for agriculture. There you go. So, in this article, Maya Holmes, who is an entomologist and the Education and Outreach Coordinator for Colorado State University's Department of Agricultural Biology, says that cordyceps can be used to kill grasshoppers but not honeybees, which makes it a safer alternative than chemicals, which target everything. I just hope that the popularity of The Last of Us doesn't turn people off from using cordyceps in agriculture because it really is a good thing. Which is, I mean, that, like, for example, in that TikTok, like, people are afraid of cordyceps now.
So the thing is, in college, with a lot of pesticides, they didn't know the exact pathways in molecular biology that killed things. Like, I'm all for this versus because we know how it's killing things versus that where they're like, well, we aren't 100% sure, but we've been using it for like 20 years.
So why not just keep using it? I don't like pesticides. There's just so much chemicals, and now we got forever chemicals in our leggings, Lululemon.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's just a lot. It's a lot. Living nowadays is a lot. So, cordyceps are already being genetically modified using CRISPR-Cas9 as we speak. Cordyceps militarius specifically has been genetically modified in a lab setting, facilitating gene disruption and protein modification. These modifications are aimed at increasing production of bioactive compounds like cordycepin and to enhance the stability of the cordyceps and to eliminate any harmful contaminants in the mushroom, to improve medicinal compound production and strain stability. For those that don't know, CRISPR is a precise gene editing technology that acts like a molecular pair of scissors, allowing scientists to cut and modify specific sections of DNA. So, if that technology got into the wrong hands, then I could maybe see it possibly that cordyceps could be genetically modified to infect humans.
Because you could just slice and insert whatever you want, really.
But there is a lot of things that you would have to overcome in order to do that. So it is highly implausible, but not completely outside of the realm of possibility, I guess. You would have to successfully modify them to overcome temperature barriers, and then cover the fact that they are only specialized in ants and have not even successfully, to our knowledge, crossed over to other animals whose body temperatures are lower than humans. And then they would need to overcome the human immune system, which is very capable of overcoming fungal infections, especially in comparison to insects. So that's a lot of
I do feel
gene
better about it.
modification.
Yeah, because I don't think, I mean,
It
they
doesn't
could
scare
do
me as
it,
bad.
but
Yeah, like that's the thing, is it doesn't scare me as bad. It is doable. Very unlikely. In my lifetime, probably not. I don't know.
yeah, I
though. I don't think so. Like, if it was just, if we didn't have like technology like CRISPR, I would not be worried about it. But we do have technology. And then if you have college age frat boys without degrees f***ing around with it, then that also changes things as well.
Well, we've had CRISPR for a while, and you're not allowed to use it for like, because you could use it for a lot of crazy stuff,
Yeah.
but people, I guess like it's the general understanding that we aren't going to do that. Well, that we know of. I'm sure someone in a lab in a very remote part of the world somewhere is f***ing around, but they will find out.
Yeah.
And we don't have to worry
like
about
the
it.
doctor said, like, he doesn't think that it could happen, but then people have a lot of money. So
a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of knowledge could lead to.
yeah.
But who knows? Who knows?
This is a fun fact in an article by Yale School of Medicine called "The Last of Us: apocalypse is not realistic, but rising threat of fungal pathogens is.
Well, I don't love that. Now do I?
No. So, Scott Roberts, MD, Assistant Professor of Medicine of Infectious Diseases at Yale School of Medicine and Associate Medicine Director for Infection Prevention at Yale New Haven Hospital. I feel like he sounds like a man in charge. Like that's a lot of it. He sounds fancy. Anyways, so Robert says, when we go out into nature, we inhale thousands of fungal spores. Most of the time, this does not cause problems in healthy people. This is because our functioning immune systems and high body temperatures. Most fungal species cannot grow above 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. This is why some mycologists, which are fungus experts, hypothesize we've evolved to have this specific body temperature. I thought that was cool.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, I liked that. Like, we've evolved to not get infected by the cordyceps.
Some of us have lower, like,
Core body temperatures?
I have a lower core body temperature, so I'd be the first one down.
I didn't want to say anything, but
I remember in physiology lab in college, they kept taking my temperature and it came back low every time, and they were like, "What the?" But I'm I'm from a tropical island, so I'm assuming I would have a lower, because I don't know.
That makes sense. I feel like that makes sense. He went on to say that in some instances, infections can make the transition from animals to humans. For example, the viral infection Mpox was transmitted to humans from small mammals. But anyways, most viruses, fungi, and bacteria do not do that. He goes on to say there are only a rare handful that concern me, but that does not include cordyceps, which isn't exactly promising.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's only a rare handful that concern me about switching over from animals to humans, but cordyceps aren't one of them. Then what is, sir? Well, I mean, he talks about it in the article, but he's like, yeah, I wouldn't be worried about cordyceps, but, you know, everything. He does talk about Candida auris in that article. And
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and other fungi that are evolving.
We used to test for a lot of those, so that makes sense. Because remember, the Candida panel was large.
The Candida panel was hardcore, and God forbid you ever found Candida in someone's blood.
And then you had to like report it with like reportable diseases. It was a whole.
No, you had to. If you found Candida in someone's blood, you check it multiple times, because if you found Candida in someone's blood, you probably didn't. It was probably a fluke, but if you did, then that's very sad for the person.
R.I.P.
Literally. R.I.P. Okay, so that's the end of that episode. I'm not as scared of cordyceps after researching them. I am scared of frat boys.
I want to know how they got
around with CRISPR technology. Allegedly. All of this whole episode's alleged.
But I just want to know where they got it for funsies. I'm curious.
I am
Can
curious.
I find it naturally occurring in the wild? Where do we go? We're going to research that after this episode.
We can go to Pennsylvania.
I'm always in Pennsylvania. Let me tell you about Pennsylvania. It is a weird state.
You
no offense to
Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania.
It's like they do nothing but drink and like, I don't know.
They just drink and be merry.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We're ending it there.